All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Eric your success concierge, and welcome to our stream for December. The 10th month, October, 27 day, last stream of the month for us. But we still representing our pink. Why? Because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month or Cancer Awareness Month. However you want to choose it, it doesn't matter. Because in my life, I have people, family members, as well as friends who are survivors. So salute to them, and also too salute to the individuals who are fighting and got us here today. So one, we can have treatment, we can have other alternatives, and we can heal. So of course, we got our pink on, our amethyst colored glasses, and of course, our fragrance for the day. All right. So roses, pink. This is a great rose fragrance. This is called Perfume Mr. Avenue from Bond Number Nine. It is a rose fragrance, so that means is geared more feminine. But when you a success concierge and you know how to make it do what it do, you can rock something like this with confidence. So perfume meets the avenue, Bond Number Nine, great rose fragrance, great for this time of the year. Starting to cool down, got a little thickness to it, hangs in the air a little bit. Now this is a magnificent fragrance, so you definitely want to check that out. Because we coming up on holiday time, coming up on time for Thanksgiving, Christmas, Black Friday. And so what does that mean? I know you're out there shopping either for yourself or your loved ones. So go ahead and get that on your list. So y'all see the topic, y'all know what we're talking about. Go ahead, get the likes up. Welcome in here. I am Eric Hall, your success concierge, and today, as you saw in the title, we're going to talk about evolution of your image. Is it time to evolve? So we hear a lot about evolution. You hear it in nature. You hear it when people want to change and grow. All right. So that's what we're going to be looking at. Now, there's usually two reasons things evolve. One, there's a change in conditions. So one perfect example of nature is when giraffes evolved, right? So initially it was that they had short necks, but then in order to get the food at the top of the tree, they had to grow and extend their neck. So this was not something that happened instantaneously. This was something that happened over time as the conditions changed. Now, another reason why you may want to evolve is you want a different outcome. A given example of this is a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. Caterpillar, they typically can't elevate. They can't. They're stuck to whatever they're stuck to, whether it's the ground, trees, plants. But they may want to go and be able to fly. Now, how do they do that? Well, they take time. They go into a cocoon, and their body changes. They go through transformation. They're in the lab putting in work. Hint, hint, clue, clue to y'all. So they're out here putting in work, and then it's time. The work is done from the internal side, but now they got to work those muscles. So they have to fight, claw, and struggle just to get out of that cocoon. And what does that allow them to do? That allows them to be able to take as well as sustain flight. So how does that relate to you? How does that relate to your image, the ABCD of image? Funny you should ask that, right? So we always talk about the ABCD of image: appearance, behavior, communication, digital footprint. All right. So as times changes and conditions change, whether it's you're aging and you go from your younger person to a more seasoned person, those are the times when conditions change. So you want to make adjustments to your image. Now, another instance may be when you want a different outcome. So let's just say you're at the stage and you're, doing what you're doing, and you say, hey, you know what? I need to make some adjustments. Okay. So it could be adjustments to any of those areas. It could be adjustments to your overall appearance, and that's why you would get with the image consultant like myself. It could be your behavior and your communication. So those things may, could help you or hurt you in your what you want to do for your desired outcomes. Then, of course, digital footprint, which is your mark that you leave. All right. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. I have quite a few topics where I dig a little bit deeper into that and go into that. But that's why we're here, because we're going to answer your questions. Okay. So, when is it time to evolve? What are some things that are going to help you evolve? And of course, we feature a case study than none other than O'Shea Jackson. Not that O'Shea Jackson, but O'Shea Jackson Ice Cube. So, we're going to go ahead and share the screen, and we're going to go ahead and get started. All right. So, this is my case study, as I said, on Ice Cube, the O'Shea Jackson, not that O'Shea Jackson. All right, not the one from YouTube. Salute to O'Shea. All right. So this is a case study on Ice Cube. Now, why did I choose Ice Cube? Now, Ice Cube, if you may be familiar with him in his history, whether it's old history or new history, right? You may remember him some of the music things he did. You may remember him in movies. You may remember him recently with the Big Three. These are all different things that he's done over the course of time. His career has spanned, give or take, about 35 years, give or take, and he's still out here doing amazing things. So let's get into this. Let's talk about how I get started, or how I got started. So yeah, I guess this is Jerry Curl month because I did Deion Sanders earlier this month, and I'm doing O'Shea or Ice Cube, excuse me. And yeah, both of those brothers rock Jerry curls. They, this is them, right? So this is him, young man born in California, two parents, born in '69. He has a brother who's older than him, and he also had a half sister who happened to be killed when he was 12 years old. But he had other extended family members who were rap, so in the rap game, so we had cousins, such and so forth. They had minor careers. I'm not gonna really get into that, but that's just how he got started. All right. So he went to school for architectural design. You might not know that. So he is someone, and that kind of plays into how he orchestrates and does things. All right. So architectural design, that's the people who design buildings, do those type of things. So they have to be meticulous in their planning. They have to be meticulous in their strategy. They have to be meticulous in, how clear and communicate. So what they're doing and drawing and build is not only sound, but it's something that can be executed on. So this is what he went to school for, high school, and that was actually what he planned to fall back on throughout his career. All right. Now he got the name Ice Cube from his brother. Of course, some of y'all younger brothers, older brothers, y'all, do things to each other. So his brother got mad. He said, "Yeah, I'm gonna put you in the freezer until you turn into an ice cube." So that's how he got the name. The name stuck. All right. Now, some of y'all might remember how it started, or one of the first groups he started, the controversial group NWA. Now, I just want you to kind of, if you understand the group, you see the individuals. You see Ice Cube to the left. You see Dr. Dre, Eazy no longer here. MC Ren, Yellow Boy. Those are the members of NWA initially, and you had some other people as well too. All right. So this is kind of like the evolution of gangster rap, and that's exactly what their style personality looks like. I mean, if you go back to the '80s and '90s, when you had people who may have been in drop balls in illicit activities, this is the image they portrayed. Now, nowhere in here do you see, okay, these are family men, these are businessmen, like, well, legit businessmen like that. That's the look they have, and you see what type of work that they had. So they were controversial. They talked about drugs, crime, and they could have even been considered, well, by today's standard, they might be counseled for some of the things that they said as it regards to women. All right. And so they had a couple albums. The second one went platinum. So they're kind of like the founders, not founders, or the pioneers of gangster rap. So they were the first gangster rap album to go platinum. And then some of you may know, you may have watched the movie, you may have not, but they had the controversial song F the Police. Now it's funny how times have changed, right? So back then, that was very controversial. They got a lot of backlash from media, such and so forth. But in today's era, you've had certain instances where they talk about defunding the police, such and so forth. So it's just amazing how certain things that may have been acceptable in a previous generation is now acceptable, and vice versa. All right. And so Ice Cube was part of that group, NWA, and he left over a dispute with money. And he did quite a few solo albums. This one, Death Certificate, War and Peace, had some crazy something. Like, if y'all may need to go and do your history, get that No Vaseline, which is kind of like a battle rap song. Today was a good day, Bop Gun, a fun, funky sound. And you even see right here on this Death Certificate, he's talking about death to, that's Uncle Sam with the toe tag on it. So he was someone who was kind of militant, who was anti-establishment, and you kind of see that to an extent in his style personality. He has that bad boy kind of anti-style personality, as well as he has a urban style personality because he's into music and entertainment. So he has a combination of those two, and you'll see that's how he dresses and carries himself just throughout his career, right? And so he did some other compilations. You see him with West Side Connection, Dub C. and Mac 10. And then, of course, he had the Friday soundtrack, Players Club soundtrack. I mean, this man has just been very successful throughout his music career. And, this was a little bit later. This was after NWA and after he started his solo career. But you will see, like, his look is starting to change. He's getting a little bit more polished. Even, the hair is trimmed up, that type of thing as well too. So he's evolving his image as well too over time. All right, so this might be how y'all remember him. Gonna jump around a little bit, but like he started off as kind of a gritty character. So he played Doughboy in Boys in the Hood. He played another gritty character in Trespass, and then Glass Shield. He was, a little bit not over the edge, but his character there was like a little bit different from the norm. He was African of African descent. That's where his roots were from, and then he was doing some things like fighting such and so forth in that movie. So that's an interesting movie. And then of course, Higher Learning. The second John Singleton film that he did, he was talking more about his character was like the militant type. So that's how his career started. Like he was very much anti-establishment, anti, injustice, that type of person. Almost like okay, he was a fighter, right? So that's how his career started. But as he progressed, he got more into the business side. Okay, so he launched his company Cube Vision, and his first three movies was Friday, which is a comedy, if a classic. Dangerous Grounds, which is not as popular but still a great movie, and then Players Club. So those are the first few movies that launched his Q Vision platform. All right, and then he had some other movies that you've seen like Barbershop series, Are We There Yet? Ride Along, All About the Benjamins, and some of these this shift was from more comedy centric, more family friendly pick stuff as compared to some of the things he did previously. So when we talk about image, that's behavior and communication. He's moving, from that toward that. Now, 20th Century Fox, they signed a deal with them to do to produce films as well as television programs. All right. Now, some of you may or may not know, he spent a lot of time with the Nation of Islam. Now, he never officially joined them, but he's here with some of the brothers with Farrakhan. And then he was always doing other things. You could see him pictured with those individuals. And he was like, I was never a member, but I consider myself a natural Muslim. And then even to the present day, he's someone who says, I take from this religion, that religion, what have you. So again, even his religious views and ideas, those are changing over time as he wants different outcomes. All right. So that's the behavior and communication side, as well as the digital footprint, because he's distancing himself from some of the things that may have been negative that he did in the past, but he's also using that in a positive manner to say, hey, this is where I came from. This is how I learned. All right. This is him and his family. So we talked about some of his lyrics being somewhat misogynistic or anti this or anti that, but he's been with his wife. I think they married in '92, so get right around 31 years. So he has transitioned from the family man, and so even though he still has his urban style personality, it's less aggressive. His son over here, he has a little. He's a younger man, so he still has a little bit of that. Got the J's on. This right here, it's kind of anti-establishment. I'm doing me, but Ice Cube still has that look, but he's a little bit more refined and more polished. All right, so this is him getting his celebration on the Walk of Fame. He got that in 2017, specifically for music, because sometimes you have them for different genres, but he had it for music. He's got 10 solo albums, several that went platinum. He's got several groups. We talked about NWA, West Side Connection, and then he's collaborated with a number of different artists within the industry. He's famous for discovering the rapper Yo-Yo, and then like his music career started in '88, and kind of his last studio album was 2018. I know he still may do some tours, some things on that on occasion, but that's when his last album was. I just did first to last as well on that. All right. So let's look at him through the years. All right. So in the past, you see him on the left right here. He's a little bit more, you got the African chain and some medallion. Some of you remember that. That was big in the 90s. Like people used to want to wear that, right? So it was very much, okay, anti-establishment. I'm going to be straight in your face, right? You see those in those two photos. Now, his thinking has not probably changed as much because he's still goes against the grain, but now he does it in a more subtle way. All right. So you look here, this is someone you may or may not let them in the room to have a conversation with you. You may be scared of them, you may be intimidated, whatnot. But even this person right here and this look right here, they still have it, but it's a little bit more softer. They added some softness. So that's the evolution of the image to be a little bit more uh evolve with him over time, so he could still get into some of those rooms as before, right? So if you look at throughout his career, he was someone who's a rapper, he's part of the group. Now went from being that to being an owner. All right. So you see his son right here, O'Shea Jr. He played him in the movie NWA movie, as well as he's been in the movie Den of Thieves, and he's had some other movies that he's working on. Of course, Big Three. It's a 3-on-3 league for former players of college or professional, whether it's here or overseas. And then what do you see? Some recent controversies, like this just came out. I want to say a couple of days ago. NBA owners were steered investors from being part of the Big Three. So some of the owners, they may have wanted to be a part of that, but some other people, took that and tried to steer them away from that. Then you got the Platinum Plan for Black America. This was his plan. He wanted to, as part of the 2020 elections, he wanted to present an agenda to both of the major candidates. At the time, it was Donald Trump and Joe Biden, but he wanted to present like his agenda. So that's him still presenting himself out there as someone who can make moves and get things done. All right. Now, you may not know this, but upcoming projects, I'm kind of curious about this right here. So you got Last Friday. I have no idea what that's going to entail, who the character is going to be, but apparently that's going to be the final one of that series. And then this is an interesting one, Oliver Twist. Some of you may have read this play in school. It's a Charles Dickens book. It came out in the 1800s. So I don't know what he's going to actually do with this, but I know that's an upcoming project. All right. So that's my take on Ice Cube, O'Shea Jackson. And I just wanted to kind of highlight how he's someone who evolved over time, right? He still has his style personality, but he's evolved and grown over time. So that is my case study on Ice Cube. And as usual, we we're gonna take your questions, right? And so some of the questions are things that people have emailed in. You can catch me on Instagram. That's where I'm at. Good way to communicate with me. We got the website launching soon. We talked about that. You can also call into the stream. We can get that rolling because I want to hear from you. I want you to be able to see and interact with me real time and see how I, work and solution and answer your questions. So again, we got the pink on Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Cancer Awareness Month, whether it's breast cancer or anything else. Salute to all the survivors. Salute to the people still fighting. Salute to the people in remission. And salute for the individuals who may have come before you and sacrificed so we could be here today and get the treatment that you need. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. Answer the questions that we got. All right, first question. Now, this is from an image consulting perspective, right? Okay. So, question number one is, how do you feel about people wearing jerseys and athletic gear? All right. So, y'all already know my three rules when it comes to getting clothes, right? Rule number one, where you're going to wear it to. Rule number two, what's the message that you're going to send? And then the third one, the value add. Okay. So, depending on your style personality, if you're someone who has a urban or hip hop style personality, jerseys and athletic gear, that's your norm. That's going to be your uniform. So in that instance, I don't have an issue with that. All right. The second instance is if you're a young person, I would say 25 may be the cutoff, but 30 may be the cutoff. So at some point you have to evolve your image. All right. Now, if you're going to a ball game, a sporting event, and that type of thing, then that is perfectly acceptable. But what I see sometimes when I'm out and about doing my thing, I see individuals in jerseys and athletic gear going to brunch, going to upscale places, right? Now, again, if that's your style personality and that's what you do, okay, fine. But I see a lot of people who, they still live in a, old Cowboys fantasy dream, and they wear that to church, they wear that to Roof Chris, they wear that everywhere. Now that's a little bit different. So it definitely depends on your style, personality, your age, the location that you're doing, and again, what is the message that you're trying to send? That I'm a grown man and I'm still, you know, not ready to step my game up in other areas, or I want that. Because here's the thing, right? You go to a nice place and you're in that, right? So, like, what type of style personalities wear that type of clothes? Athletes, musicians, artists. That's hip hop, urban culture. So, because that's the type of style personality does that. If that's not you, what message are you sending by doing that? So, I want you to be mindful of that. All right. So, that's my thoughts on people wearing that. It always depends, and that's why you want to talk with an image consultant like myself, because you may like to do that. So like I can work and incorporate that into certain things that you may want to do. But it also depends on the type of outcomes and things you want to get out of your everyday life and process. All right. So that is my question on that. You know, feel free to chime in. We have passed the hour here. Always taking your questions because again, we want you to be in position to be able to get your desired outcomes. And that's why I love working with individuals as well as businesses too, because they need image consultants as well. We've been seeing some things, some trends going on in the media, some individuals doing some things to help their brand, and maybe some individuals doing some things to hurt their brand. So that may be a future case study, but that's what we're doing. We're in a time where you know the economy is not as good as it could be, and so the competition for people's time, energy, and dollars is very important. All right. And people like society has shifted. You know, you have a lot of online, and then you have a lot of, you know, people who may come in, they want that relationship. So you got to make sure that your brand is always congruent and in line with what you stand for, as well as the needs of your customers, because if not, you're going to struggle out there. All right. So let's go to the next question. If you got some, like I said, feel free to jump up here if you want to talk with me directly. I always make myself available to do that because we want to make sure we put you in position to get your desired outcome. All right. Let's see if we have any other questions that people got on there. All right. So this is a really really great question. All right. So I'm here in the United States. I know we have people in other parts of the world who tune in over here. Halloween is approaching, and so that's coming up in about 6 days, right? Because today's 25th on the 31st. And how do I participate in work events while maintaining my image? All right. So for individuals who may or may not be familiar with Halloween, how we do here in America. Now I know we got some people who've been doing this since they was kids, but let me just explain to the other individuals out here. All right. So Halloween, you know, people you got the trick or treat aspect, but then also too people dress up in costumes, right? And so they may dress up anything from something like kind of scary, something funny, a caricature of another individual. It could run the range of gamut. And then there's some sexy outfits, which depending on your job, you probably want to stay away from. All right. So how do you participate in work events while maintaining your image? Simple. Understand your image, and then identify a character who is in line with that and similar to you. All right. And because again, right, like, you know, people may remember that, okay, this person dressed up like a clown. Now you might have thought it's funny, but they subconsciously remember that, or subconsciously remember what you do. You had one guy, he was like a magic. What did he do? He dressed up as Captain America. So even though it was kind of he had a costume that was different from him. But what does the character Captain America stand for? Dedication, you know, honor, and then he could do this all day. So that was what he did and what you do. So in those instances there, I recommend you find a character who has a personality that you admire, similar to yours, and then you dress like that, right? If you're required to do so, all right. So that way you can still maintain your image. You can present yourself as a character who meets those requirements for you, but also to allows you to have fun and participate when you do that, right? So let's just say, for example, you may want to be Great Gatsby. That like so that's a guy who is fun guys, stylish, like to have fun, like to throw lavish parties, look good, those type of things, right? You could be someone like that. You could be someone. I mean, it just depends on your style, personality. If you're someone more adventurous, you may choose someone like from the X-Men. All right, let's just say you have a rugged style archetype, a rugged style personality. You may want to be Wolverine because that's how he is, hero, and it fits into that, right? So in order to do that, if you're required or not necessarily required, so compelled to dress up in those instances, then I recommend you pick a character or whatnot similar to what you want to do. All right. That is the easiest way to get that part out of the way. All right. So we can go to the next question. Let me take a sip of the drink here. While the next question is coming up. All right. So let me do this here. Should a young person focus on trends or having a timeless wardrobe? All right. So two things. One is going to depend on your style, personality. It's going to depend on your budget, and then also too, we got to define a young person. All right, because young people, they may still be growing. All right. So if you're someone who's still growing, then you may do a little bit of both. Because the reason being, reason you want to have a timeless wardrobe is you want something that's going to last you, right? That means you're going to buy high quality pieces that are your basics, but are timeless. And so that's in anticipation that your size is not going to change too much and that your lifestyle is not going to change too much. So let's just say you're a teenager. I wouldn't recommend you getting, doing that in a sense because you can get your basics, which you should have, but doing that for long term because your body is still growing. So you may or may not be able to continue to fit that. All right. Now, as far as trends are going to be here today, gone tomorrow. Now, I will say this, right? If that's your style personality, you're a little bit adventurous. I would say don't spend too much money on that, right? Because as we talked earlier, money is scarce. And so what happens is individuals spend so much time, and it's not just young people, adults do this as well too. They spend so much time and energy focusing on trends. When that trends change, if they life situation is not where they can keep up or whatnot, then they may be falling behind. Okay, so as a young person, I always say get the best thing you can afford. So look at those types of things and do what works within your style personality. Now, if you're someone who has kind of, when I say peak from your growth, meaning your feet's not probably not going to grow too much, you may not get too much taller. You're at that stage. You may go in and out a little bit depending on your fitness and whatnot. Then I would say get your basics. So these are timeless things. So spend on your frames, spend on your shoes, spend on your basics like shirts, overcoats, sweaters, such and so forth, those type of things. And if you want to have, do some funny things, I did a video on the Astro Boy boots. If you want to do something like that, cool. Just understand it's a trend. It's not going to last as long, and it's going to be costly. Now, I see a lot of individuals out there. They tell young people to experiment. Well, again, it's easier to learn your style, personality, and buy things that fit that and avoid things that don't fit that versus spinning your wheels and buying this time, that time. And then you end up with a lot of stuff in your closet. And if you do that, hopefully you find a good cause or good people to donate that as well too. So less than high school, still living at home, I say, you know, you can and you're still growing, focus on maybe having a little fun because you don't want to spend all your money on that. But as you start maturing, aging, you want to start instead of 50-50, maybe it's 20%, 80% timeless and keep reducing that number. And again, you can have some fun pieces in your wardrobe. That's what we do. All right. All right. So that is that part right there. So do we have any more questions for that or anybody who wants to come and talk to the success concierge? The line is up there, and so we open for business. We open to talk to you. We're open to have that conversation. Anything we got to do to put you in position to achieve your desired outcomes. It's coming up on the end of the year, and so are you on point for where you want to be for year one, right? Because you shouldn't just be planning 1 year. You should be planning multiple years. Like you should have plans to go beyond what you're doing here. Like if you're going to university, whether it's a 2 year or 4 year, they have a plan. I want to be A, B, C, D, so I can, get whatever outcome, certificate, or whatnot. So the same should be for your life, your image, and whatnot. Are you on point to do the things that you want as well as need to do? All right. So let's see if we have any questions here. Um, oh man, Tupac has been in the news recently. What are your thoughts on his image and impact? Yeah, so salute to Tupac, um, artist, and he was probably one of the first actors around him and Ice Cube went from music to movies. But salute to Tupac, Machiavelli the Don, and what he's been in the news recently just because like for those who've been following, there's some breaking news and changes in his murder investigation, and they have some cases in courts around that, right? So that's kind of starting right now. But as far as his image, Tupac definitely had the bad boy image. He was anti-establishment. Um, he did also have a little bit of urban in him as well too. And he had a little player in him as well too, because you saw like on the night he passed, he was at the MGM Grand with the Versace gold shirt. So he had a lot of different things from a stylistic standpoint, personality and image wise. Now here's the other things like that people I may have to do a case study on him. I'm not sure yet, but like one thing that people have to understand about him, like yes, he talked about being thug, like being this and being that, but he also he's a son or mentored by Matula Shakur. For those who don't know, that's a Black Panther, right? So do your research on that, right? So Tupac was very militant in that he was intelligent, and he was pretty like he sometimes did things emotionally and that worked for him, right? What I reckon, and DMX came after him, so they have a lot of similarities in that particular space. And so, like from a music standpoint, from an activist standpoint, from someone who is passionate about what they do and about his people, yeah, salute to him. That's something good, all right. But then some of the other activities that he was doing, that it could be detrimental if you follow that to a T, because again, he has a unique personality. He has multiple within himself, style personalities as well as archetypes that work for him, right? And we still see, Jada chasing that ghost of that remarkable guy, and it's hard to believe that he accomplished all he accomplished at or around the age of 25 when he passed. So Tupac, amazing. He's someone who's very passionate. He's influenced a lot of individuals, and sometimes his image has influenced people searching for mates negatively because they wanted Tupac in the suit because he was that guy who may throw some hands. He may be an activist, but he still sometimes put on his suit and did business. That's a tough architect to pull off, and some people still fantasizing about that. We know who you are, and that's difficult to pull off. So um, lyrically, okay, lyrically, but passion and deliver and to stir up emotion. That's someone who knew how to use his behavior and communication to put himself in position to achieve outcomes. So, yeah, amazing story for him. Uh, that's my take on the late great Tupac Amaru Shakur. All right. Okay. Welcome to Condemn. You said you're working on reclaiming your image, sir. Well, that's always good there. Salute. I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you want to ask a question, we can address that. Or if you want to call in, we can definitely have that conversation as well too. But the way you're talking, you're saying that you're doing things to improve and make progress. So that's always a good thing. I always like when people say, take initiative and want to make changes. So yeah, like if you have a specific question or you want to clarify, you can either put it in the chat or you can log in and we can have a conversation about it. But my thing is this, right? Like I like seeing people put themselves in position to achieve outcomes. I like seeing people win. That is something that I really really enjoy. So salute to you, the condemn, because you making it do what it do. So yeah, that's what we're here for, and I like to hear success stories. I know if I've had some people who I've worked with, they may come on here because, like, one thing when I work with you, if I work with you, the work that we do is between you and I. Now, if you give me permission to share, I will share that. Or if you want to come on and share, we can do that as well too. I know it's some people I've worked with. They have have had some night and day stories. Salute to you. You know who you are. If you ever want to come up here, we keep the door open for that because I like to I'm from the area where we show our work. So it's not just me what I do. I want you to see how I've helped other individuals, how I've helped other businesses, how we make an impact, not just here, but also in the community at large. So salute to you, the condemned. I look forward to hearing more about some of the wonderful things that you're doing, or if there's a way that we can, do some things together, that is well too. So salute to you. All right. So do we have any more questions? I know we got about a quarter till. That's the scheduled time, but we're off the hours sometimes. We stay a little bit longer. All right. Oh man, this is funny right here. So how do I respectfully and tactfully communicate that I cannot split the bill when the portion was larger than mine? Okay, so this is kind of funny right here because we've seen like a couple viral clips of people paying bills in restaurants, people doing this, people doing that. All right, now one thing is first, like this is a friend. So when I think of a friend, I think of someone that you have known, right? That you have a relationship with that you should be able to be truthful, straightforward, and honest with them. That's what I think about when I think of a friend. All right. So if you have someone, and the way this is talking is, it makes it seem like this person it has a repeat pattern of doing it. Yeah, 48 oysters. Don't forget the crab cakes too, right? So it sounds like someone who has a history and a pattern of doing that. All right. Now, what are your boundaries? All right. Because if someone is your friend, and like I have friends all the time, I may decide that I'm going to cover the food, right? So I may do that. All right. But if it's understanding that we're gonna pay or we're gonna split, then that's a conversation you need to have with this individual. So hey John, like if you want to cover it this time, that time, what have you. But let's look at a couple things, right? Part of my boundaries, I enjoy your company, me and you cool, but I feel like you're taking a little bit of advantage of me because you want us to split, but at the same time, you are extreme with what you order. All right. And so that's not a good situation to be in where you feel like someone is taking advantage of you, exploiting the friendship and whatnot. So I always recommend being open and honest with that individual. All right. Letting them know that that's an issue. Now, if they truly your friend, they will be like, okay, I saw you have an issue with that, so let me make adjustments. But if there's someone who doesn't respect you in that manner, then that may be time to reevaluate that situation. All right. So again, that's how I would handle it. Just having dialogue, being open, and having conversation with people. We see common sense or common courtesy is not always common because again we have people who are out here running them up. They want to live their life, live their best life on your dime, and that's not a good way to be feeling like you're exploited, feeling like someone is taking advantage of you. That's never good. So I would just let it be known because to me the way this question is phrased is it seems like something someone is doing pretty frequently and consistently, and that's making you feel uncomfortable. So you gotta let them know because one, they may not have thought about it in that manner. So I like to give people the benefit of the doubt when I have conversation with them because I want them in their mind to believe that they can do well. But if it's an issue, then maybe I need to reevaluate how they view me in that friendship. So that's how I would handle that right there. So hopefully that answers your question. And do we have any other questions that we want to address too? Yeah, that 48 oysters. So let's talk about that right quick as well too with the 48 oysters. All right. It's a lot of different things, different countries controversies going on about people going on dates, going out with friends. Now here's the thing, right? We live in a digital age, right? So some individuals they see that they may say, okay, we'll let her slide. It's funny. Even with this instance right here, right? So the girl in question, she put the guy on blast, right? but the restaurant is saying she was nice. Why are they saying she was nice, right? Because they want her to come back. They want her to keep spending money. So they've been kind of neutral on the whole thing. So you see how both of those groups, they're monitoring their behavior and their digital footprint. But if you go out in public behaving badly, unless you do a total revamp, that's gonna be around with you for a while. All right. So let's see. We got about coming up 10 minutes till the hour. Let's see if we got anything else. Any callers? Any questions? Anybody want to chime in? We can do that. Let's see. Okay. See, look at y'all. Look at y'all. Look at y'all. Look at y'all. So we got oyster, we got oyster incident, and now we got the Cheesecake Factory incident, right? And so here's the thing, right? I have a unique perspective on the Cheesecake Factory incident. One, because I view this from the lens of an image consultant. All right. Now, I have seen the incident. I have seen some follow up interviews, and then I've seen like different things that people have said or put out. All right. So let's address the young lady first, and then I'm going to address the gentleman after that. All right. So the young lady, right? She's a taller lady, which is fine. And she may be accustomed to or desire, whether it's desire or accustomed to, a certain, as she says, that's how they go and how they do, right? Now the way they initially met was, I guess he was out with his friends. It was a friend's birthday. They were at a bar. He pulled up on her. They exchanged numbers, right? Now her initial thoughts was, she's 6 feet or close to 6'1". I don't know how she was dressed, but I've seen how he dressed, right? So she wanted to go to, I guess, an upscale place. Now, um, did when you met him, right? Was there one an initial burning attraction, which she has said was not, and then two, did he look like the type of person who frequented those type of places that you want to go? All right. And Tropical Smoothie Cafe. I don't know where y'all the condemn, but yeah, I like them as well too. They got some good smoothies. But the point is, like, is that someone that would fit in the type of places that you were trying to go? Now, from my perspective, from what I see, he doesn't look nor dress like someone who frequents or goes that type of places. So in my mind, she was kind of like maybe using she wasn't that into him. That's what I say, right? So she might have been foodie calling him, whether she wants to admit it or not. But just from her perspective, is she says men supposed to court, treat her, do her, take her where she want to go, right? And no concern about what she should do or how she should be with the man. Now she did follow up and say she should have been more cooperative, but she still has that level of expectation. And is that a moment of clarity thought, or is that just her trying to save face? Because when they responded back, there was a gentleman, he was gonna pay for them to go on a date. She said as long as it's not Cheesecake Factory, right? So personally, I don't have an issue with Cheesecake Factory. I don't know why the issue is. It's a fairly nice place. They have a fairly extensive menu, but she said chain restaurants. But Roof Chris, which is a high-end restaurant, that's a chain restaurant. Perry's, that's a chain restaurant. Salt Bay, that's a chain restaurant. So I don't know what that means by that. It could have been something deeper. I have a theory, but I'm not going to speculate on that. But I have a theory about that. Now, as far as Jay, that's the gentleman who was going out with him. The girl, her name is Alicia. All right. So, a couple things about Jay. Jay is someone, and this is all public knowledge, so I'm not spitting or telling you something that's not true or has not been said by one or the other. Jay is someone from Indian descent. He's from India. He's here in the U.S. All right. Now he is going to, I guess he's in residency for medical school. And by his own admission, when he met her, he was like busy like all the time. He just so happened to go out with her or go out to that particular place because it was his friend's birthday. All right. Now this is what I see from Jay. Jay is more laid back in his appearance. He's he could I could work with him on some of those things there, but he's more laid back. So and then also too, here's the other thing is like Jay says he's looking for a wife or a traditional woman, right? So let's look at a couple things. All right, now because we talk about appearance, he behavior, communication, and digital footprint. long term with this right here. So from an appearance standpoint, he does not dress or carry himself as someone who is one comfortable or fits in well in some of those, I guess, higher end places like that particular place that he wanted to go or the young lady wanted him to take him to, right? So I see like, his style, personality is he it still needs to work on his appearance, his swag, whatever those things have to do, right? But the other thing is his outcome is he wants a wife, a family, and a more traditional type of role. Now, if you want that, why are you taking or looking to take women on these upscale type dates? Even if you can't afford it, but because that's not your outcome. Because when you come into special occasions, lifestyle, you're not going to be going to cheesecake, well, some of this higher end places, at least starting off once a month, once a week, whatever, because you trying to save for a family. So spending unnecessary things on entertainment, that is not for building homes, wealth, such and so forth. So you may do that on, a special occasion or down the line, but that's not how you start off relationships, right? So he says he meets women who just want to, have adult fun or just want to do this or do that, because that's how he presented himself. So his he definitely needs to work on some of his appearance type things and his communication, but his behavior should be is, if I'm looking for a wife, I'm taking her to vet her to how she's going to be in regular common places, because that's the type of guy you are. So here's what happens, right? Like in the courting process, a man or a woman, they may take one to like, oh, they start off whining and dining and doing this and this right here, right? Just to get them. But that's not who you are. That's not what you really enjoy doing. You're putting on activity to kind of like, get that launch velocity, like you're trying to exit the atmosphere and using all your fuel for takeoff, and then you want to maintain the top off, right? So that's not how it is. So if your lifestyle, or that's what you do, doesn't line up with it, why are you extending beyond something like that for a woman or for a man, right? So in that instance, there, Jay, again, some of his style and things need some work, but also to his behavior in the sense that how he vets women, how he takes them here and there, it should be more. So I need to get to know this woman, because going and being the man to go to high end places, is that the type of wife you want for a long term sustainable relationship? Whereas you come home from being a surgeon umpteen hours and you want to go and relax with the family, but then her idea of fun is to go do something else. All right. So uh yeah, so you have to be mindful of that, right? So that's some things I would say to him in how he approaches, one, his image, his appearance, but then also to his behavior and how he talks and interacts with these individuals. Now we will say, his digital footprint is out there. So it's gonna be good or bad either way, right? So I know it's a gentleman, they call him Hotep Namor because his eyebrows. I would love to have a conversation and share this with you, because I know you're working directly with Jay. I don't know how close you're working with the other young lady, Alicia, but these are things that would help him in his process as well too. And again, like when I saw him, he slouched over, he's hunched, like he looks uncomfortable and unconfident in those places, right? Now, not to say he's not a confident guy, because again, he's going to residency. So when he's going to execute his job, his performance, he may be supremely confident. He's just not confident in those areas. So we can help him with his appearance, his behavior, and his communication. So they're all incongruent. Him going to those places and trying to do those things, although nice, although I'm not even talking about his finances on that, making afford it, but that's not congruent with who he is. So that's why when we talk about the ABCDs of image, appearance, behavior, communication, digital footprint, all those have to be incongruent. All right. So if Hotep Namor, you and Jay, this is for you guys, so y'all can reach out to me, and I will go further into this as well too. All right. So I know we're coming up on the top of the hour. Salute to you, the condemn. Thank you for tuning in. Do we have any more people in the chat who have questions? Because again, this was a very interactive show. I know y'all threw me off talking about oysters and Cheesecake Factory and all that stuff. This breaking news, which I enjoy talking about. I enjoy giving an image consultant's perspective on that, because most people, they may get into those conversations. It may be emotional. It may be, triggering for some, but I get down to what is the outcomes or what are the things that people want to achieve. So I'm going to scan the chat. I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. Again, we got our pink on for 5 more days because it is breast cancer or cancer awareness month. Excuse me. And we want to salute those individuals who fought the good fight, continue to fight the good fight, and who are inspiration to others. But again, thank everyone for tuning in. I am Eric Hall, your success concierge, providing the vision, tools, and opportunity for your desired success. And it's all about putting you in position to achieve your desired outcomes. Thank y'all for tuning in. We out. Salute and peace.